Hey guys, and welcome to AP Stat. Sorry I can't be here today or tomorrow, but I'll be back on Monday, and I look forward to meeting you and seeing some of the familiar faces. I've set up these first couple days for you guys to get a sense of what AP Statistics is, and then also to give you guys a sense of what to expect in terms of workload and also the types of questions that you guys might interact with in this course. You see, it's a different course than you guys have probably ever taken in math. In fact, there's a lot more to this than punching numbers into a calculator and circling some type of answer at the end of a long page of work. But we'll get to that in a minute. In just a moment, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what this course looks like and what all is entailed in this course. And then I'm going to ask you guys to do a pretest. Now, this pretest is going to be completely new to a lot of you, and I wouldn't be shocked if you don't really know what's going on, but that's okay. That's the point of this course. What I would ask is that you guys give it an honest effort. So, what is AP Statistics? Well, a quick look at what this course covers. Things such as exploring data. So we'll take a look at graphs and interpreting graphs, creating graphs, describing what graphs tell us, being able to take good samples, and describing what a good experiment is. In fact, that's where we're going to start with this course. So this will comprise about 10 to 15% of the course overall, and it's where we're going to jump off these first couple weeks of school. We're going to talk about how do we collect data that is meaningful, what makes an experiment a good experiment, and then what can we draw, what kind of conclusions can be drawn from good sampling and good experimentation. We're also going to be talking about anticipating patterns, and this is kind of the second part of the course that we're going to get into. And this is where you're seeing a lot more of your mathematics, so you'll see probability. So if you're a pure math person, this is probably what you're going to look forward to the most, just because these are the most likely answers where you come up with a number, you do some work. This can be kind of confusing, but we'll practice plenty of stuff with this anticipating patterns portion of the course. And you can see it comprises about a third of the course. And then finally, we get to statistical inference. So that'll be kind of the second half of this course, where all of a sudden we say, okay, we've built this model. What does it tell us? What can we infer from here? One thing to realize, guys, right here off the bat, if you're looking for an algebra type, a geometry type class, this isn't it. This is not your typical math class. These problems are more about critical thinking. Pretty much every problem that you do in here is going to require a contextual answer. That means answers in the form of sentences. And the other thing about this course is there may be more than one correct answer, and that depends upon how you're answering. So some of that contextual answers that just mentioned there, how you're answering it could make a pretty big difference in terms of being able to answer the same question multiple ways. You're going to be reading, writing, and writing more. So again, not a traditional math course. I really want to hammer that out here early on, guys. You're going to be reading, and then that reading and the reading comprehension, they're both big components of people's success in this course. You're going to have to be able to read carefully and pick out the important details of questions and situations. You're going to have to be able to write clearly and concisely. Most of you guys are probably coming from Mr. Friedman, so I'm not really too worried about your ability to write. It's just going to be, once the weather warms up in April, if you're still willing to actually do that for me. You're going to be writing a lot. Like I said, pretty much every answer in this course comes out in terms of a full sentence. We're going to do a lot of activities in the class. Sometimes you'll be working alone. Most of the time, you'll be working in groups. I would encourage you guys, you got to stay engaged to maximize this time in class. That means phones, computers, as available as they are to you guys, a lot of times become a distraction. So keep those things put away when they're not needed so you can actually get the most out of the 45 minutes you're here every day. To get AP credit, right, a score of 3 or better, a lot of you guys know this, but just in case, you get credit at a lot of universities. Now, that being said, about 2/3 of the senior class made a 3 last year. I've noticed, however, a lot of schools are starting to lean toward you must make a 4 or a 5. Well, the folks that stayed with me last year, stayed engaged and worked hard throughout the year, it showed at the end of the year, just under half of all the seniors last year, despite all the distractions at the end of the year, were able to make 4s or 5s. And so they left Cardinal Gibbons with their statistics credit. And here's the important part of that. pretty much every college major now is going to require some kind of intro stat course, and we can knock that out of the way right now. Or at the very least, if the school you go to next year doesn't accept the AP credit, you're going to have a wonderful foundation, and it's going to make that class a breeze for you. In terms of this course, how it's going to work out for you, homework's going to be 10%. There'll be some online components of the homework, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a little bit. Some will be on paper, where you guys will write stuff out, and then you'll bring that in, and those will be discussed in class with your group, with some partners, and then with me sometimes. Sometimes I'll just take them up and take a look at them. Quizzes compose about a fourth of your grade. Those quizzes will typically be in class, and typically will let you use a partner on these quizzes, just because the conversations that you guys will have actually are pretty enlightening for me, and you guys will see that being able to talk things out makes a big difference in terms of understanding. Sometimes there'll be an online quiz, and that means that it is open notes. You can use a book. You can look stuff up online if you need to. The big idea there is that you guys are just getting some practice with some of these types of questions. And then finally, the biggest component of your grade in this class are going to be coming from tests and a few projects kind of throughout the year. Now, there are times when your test will actually cover 2 different days, and the reason I do that is because I try to make your tests simulate what the AP test will look like, with some multiple choice and some free response. You'll get a very good sense of what free multiple choice look like through a lot of the online homeworks. And then we'll do free response questions throughout the course, so you get a really good sense for what those are like and what's expected of you. What you guys are going to be looking for, technology-wise, obviously you need your computer every day, because we run a lot of the stuff through the school website. I'll use Google Classroom occasionally, but I find that the school website actually allows me to do a little bit more in terms of setting you guys up with how I've got the material designed. So I tend to use the school website, cghsnc.org, a lot more often. So we're going to end up using quite a few online apps, and it's just a little bit easier for me to get those set up through the website. And then something called Kia.com. In fact, in just a moment, I'm going to show you how to log on to Kia to do the pre-test that I'd like you guys to take a look at. And it's all multiple choice questions. But again, I want you to read through those questions carefully, read through the answers carefully, and so you guys can kind of anticipate this is what the course is going to look like. And then in terms of course, calculator, the most common TI-83 or 84, that's what I typically do all my work on in this course. If you have a different calculator, that's okay. In fact, I would almost recommend that you just use an 84, simply because there's a lot more that we can do with the TI-84. And you'll see that as the course continues. But should you have a TI Inspire or a TI-89 or maybe some other type of calculator, we can try to work with you and figure it out. But like I said, most of the work in this course, in terms of when you see me do it, will be with the TI-84. At this point, let's go on back to take a look at the course webpage through cghsnc.org and find that link to the pre-test. Okay, guys, so once we click on that link for the pre-test, so it's going to be a 10-question pre-test, you'll need to enter a username and password. So what I've done is I've just taken all my class rosters and dumped them into Kia, and then Kia has created your usernames. For the most part, your username is going to be your first name, your last name, and then the digits 357. So let's say your name was Patches O'Houlihan. There's Patches O'Houlihan. And then I put 357. Now, as we all know, Patches O'Houlihan should have an apostrophe there. But what Kia has done is it doesn't use any of the special characters, hyphens, apostrophes, whatever else might be there. And notice also it's all lowercase. So even if maybe you would have capitalized the O and the H in O'Houlihan, Kia does not do that. Everything's lowercase. Every so often, for whatever reason, Kia also, for some of you guys, it decided to just use the first initial. So it just did P. O'Houlihan. And then on the rare occasion, there's about 3 or 4 of you where Kia, for whatever reason, decided to switch your first and your last name. So instead of being Mike Smith 357, You might be Smith Mike 357. So those are kind of your three options. The vast majority of you, it's going to be first name, last name 357. And then there's a chunk of you where it's just first initial, last name 357. And then on the rare occasion that neither one of those works, it's try switching your first and your last name. Now, the initial password for everybody was set up to be Crusader. I know you can't see it here, but just type in Crusader, all lowercase, and then once you get in here, you can actually change it to your normal password, to your go-to password, or you could leave it as is. But then we hit Start Now, and it's going to take you straight in to the 10-question pretest, right? So once you completed it, go ahead and hit Submit Answers. You should have enough time here in class to do that. And then if you'd like to, you can go up here to one of these options, and there should be an option about your account. And from there, you can change your password. You'll see it sitting there. Should you have any trouble with any of that, though, the substitute, I have provided them with a list of everybody's username and passwords, and it's in alphabetical order. Just ask to take a look at it, just on the off chance that Kia decided to do something even crazier with your name, or maybe I forgot to set your password as Crusader. All right, so that gives you a sense of what this course is, what you guys can expect. We've taken a look at the course webpage, and we've also checked out Kia.com. Go ahead and take care of that pretest. Again, honest effort's all I'm looking for. This is not going to count toward or against you for any type of grade. Just want to get kind of a baseline and give you guys a sense of what this looks like. After you finish that pretest, if you have a few minutes, go back to the webpage and you'll see that there's a link for a survey. If you guys could take the time to fill that survey out, we're actually going to use that as data throughout the year, kind of give you guys a chance to explore data that's about you guys. Now, one last thing before coming to class tomorrow. You guys will be asked to do a reading tomorrow. It's all online if you'd like, but for those of you that would rather have a paper in hand, you can print off that PDF. Again, it's going to be linked to that very first announcement underneath the survey. You'll see a link for section 4.1 reading. If you'd like to print that out before coming to class tomorrow, that's more than okay. Just go on down to the library and do so. And then you'll bring it with you tomorrow to class and fill in some notes. And then your very first homework assignment will follow, answering about 6 questions on paper and pencil. Hopefully you guys have a great first day here and a great day tomorrow as well. And I look forward to seeing everybody on Monday.